Muslims nationwide celebrate Adil-Adha in peace and moderation. Fresh unrest in France as anger simmers over police shooting. Hello, good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nara Zamri and you're watching Updates at Noon. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah extended their Hari Raya Adil-Adha greetings to all Muslims in the country. His Majesty also prayed that the sacrifices of Malaysians in maintaining harmony and well-being of the country would be rewarded by Allah. In a post on the official Istana Negara post, the King also praised that the Hajj of Malaysian pilgrims will be accepted by Allah for the swift return back to Malaysia. According to Istana Negara, Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah left to perform wukuf in Arafah and later moved to Muzdalifah for the Mabit, or overnight stay on Tuesday. Their Majesties then performed the Tawaf and Sa'i at the Grand Mosque in Makkah yesterday, which was the 10th day of Zulhijjah 1044 in the Muslim calendar. The Majesties were accompanied by Pahang Region Tunku Hassan Al Ibrahim Alam Shah Al Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al Mustafa Billah Shah, as well as their children. Al Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah are scheduled to return home on the 2nd of July. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim expressed hopes that the Hari Raya Adil-Adha celebrations today brings an abundance of blessings to all Malaysians. Datuk Seri Anwar yesterday joined in the Takbir Raya ceremony in conjunction with Hari Raya Adil-Adha at Taman Rakan Sungai Long Mosque. The recitation of the Takbir was led by the Imam of Taman Rakan Sungai Long Mosque, Muhammad Zamzuri Abu Uthman, and also participated by committee members, most congregations and local residents. The ceremony was broadcast live on Radio Television Malaysia RTM's TV1, as well as on the official social media pages of the Prime Minister, RTM, and the Ministry of Communications and Digital. Earlier, Datuk Seri Anwar, dressed in baju Melayu, arrived at the mosque at 7:19 p.m. and was welcomed by members of the mosque committee and the congregation. He then broke fast together with the attendees before joining the Maghrib prayer congregation. Today, Datuk Seri Anwar performed the Adil-Adha prayers with thousands of congregants at the Putra Mosque. The Prime Minister, who was accompanied by his wife, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Ismail, was welcomed upon arrival at 8:19 a.m. by Department of Islamic Development Malaysia JAKIM Director General Datuk Hakimah Muhammad Yusof. Also present were Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail and Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali. He also joined in the Takbir Raya ceremony with 20,000 congregants before performing the Adil-Adha prayers led by the Grand Imam of Putra Mosque Salahuddin Ghazali. Datuk Seri Anwar listened to the sermon titled Nilai Pengorbanan, or the Value of Sacrifice. This is his first Adil-Adha prayer with the people of Putrajaya since he took over the helm of the country's administration in November last year.
Selamat semua, tenang semua, sabar semua, semangat pengorbanan semua, insya-Allah. Selamat negara, selamat umat.
The Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Muizzuddin Shah, partook in Adil-Adha prayer this morning with about 1,000 congregants at Masjid Sultan Azlan Shah Ipoh. Accompanying His Highness was Raja di Hilir Perak, Raja Iskandar Zulkarnain Sultan Idris Shah. The Highness's arrival were greeted by Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Sarani Muhammad, and the prayer was led by Masjid Sultan Azlan Shah Grand Imam Syed Muhammad Muzaffar Said Azlan. Over in Johor, Temanggung Johor, Tunku Idris Iskandar Al-Haj Sultan Ibrahim consented to participating in Aidil-Adha prayers at Masjid Sultan Abu Bakar with about 1,000 congregants. Accompanying His Majesty were Tunku Panglima Johor, Tunku Abdurrahman Sultan Ibrahim and Tunku Putra Johor Tunku Abdul Bakar Sultan Ibrahim. Also present at the mosque were Menteri Besar Dato' Un Hafiz Ghazi along with the State Escos and State Secretary. Nearly 3,000 residents of Kuantan, Pahang participated in Aidil-Adha prayers at Masjid Negeri Sultan Ahmad Sato. The prayer was led by Imam Saifuddin Ngah, followed by a sermon by Muhammad Izan Idris Al-Hafiz. Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Wan Rosli Wan Ismail performed Aidil-Adha prayers at his hometown Tanjung Gahai, Kuala Lipis. Over in Kelantan, Crown Prince Dr. Tengku Muhammad Faiz Petra performed Aidil-Adha prayers at Masjid Muhammadi, Kota Baru, along with some 3,000 other congregants. The prayer was led by State Grand Imam Hana Fizi Abdullah and the sermon was delivered by Kelantan Mufti Datuk Muhammad Shukri Muhammad. Malaysia needs future skills framework for talent development. The Malaysian Parliament caucus for Palestine supports members of the Palestinian Legislative Council and Peace in Gaza. They undertake the significant and courageous task of filing and pursuing a legal case at the International Criminal Court (ICC) against the Israeli illegal government. Head of the Malaysian Parliament Caucus for Palestine, Said Ibrahim Setno, said this crucial case aims to hold the Israeli occupation accountable for the injustifiable and protracted blockade imposed on Gaza. The blockade, now in its 17th year, is a blatant violation of Article 33 of the Geneva Convention. He added that with Israel's usual contempt of international laws and its continuous construction of legal settlements, there is further urgency for Malaysia to exert significant pressure on the relevant international judicial bodies. They must take all necessary measures to hold Israel's leaders to account for perpetrating the blockade and construction of the unlawful apartheid wall on stolen Palestinian land. Malaysia needs to develop a future skills framework, FSF, for the financial sector. The framework would serve as a single point of reference on future skills and career development pathways for those working or aspiring to work in financial services. Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) Deputy Governor Jessica Chu said that in the long run, the FSF should foster a culture of lifelong learning and skill development within the financial sector workforce. Financial institutions will have a key role to play in realizing the vision for the FSF while helping shape the framework into something that will be beneficial and relevant to institutions and individuals in the financial sector. The Deputy Governor said future talent strategies would also need to create greater agility for institutions and individuals to respond to changing needs by embracing the new norms of talent mobility and encouraging diversity in the workforce. Access to the e-Borang for years of assessment YA 2012 to 2015 for individuals, employers, partnerships, organizations and companies which exceed 7 years will no longer be available from 1st of July onwards. According to a statement by the Inland Revenue Board, LHDN, the e-filing feature for these years will no longer be accessible. The decision was made due to the observed trend of continuing decline in submissions of e-Borang through e-filing. LHDN said this e-filing feature was also not provided under the best practices guideline of tax administration agencies in other countries, which usually make it available for only 5 years. LHDN said after 1st of July, submissions of returns for YA 2012 to YA 2015 can be done using the physical form, which can be downloaded at the LHDN official portal through the link shown on the screen. our foreign segment, top central bankers see further tightening to counter inflation. French security forces deployed in the thousands on Wednesday amid fears of more violent protests over the fatal shooting of a teenager by police. Around 2,000 riot police have been called up to prevent clashes in suburbs around Paris, with anger simmering over the death of a 17-year-old who was shot in the chest at point-blank range on Tuesday morning. The death sparked clashes and arson attacks in several Paris suburbs, with 31 people arrested and 24 police officers injured. The victim, named only as Nahil M, and from the western Paris suburb of Nanterre, was pulled over by two policemen for breaking traffic rules while driving a Mercedes on Tuesday morning. Police initially reported that an officer had shot at the teenager because he was driving his car at him, but this version of events was contradicted by a video circulating on social media. The footage shows the two policemen standing by the side of the stationary car, with one pointing a weapon at the driver. The police officer then appears to fire as the car abruptly drives off. Hundreds gathered in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, to pray for peace on the first day of Eid al-Adha, but gunfire shattered the brief respite. Witnesses in the capital's twin city of Omdurman late Wednesday reported airstrikes and anti-aircraft fire, despite separate unilateral truces announced by the warring generals for Eid al-Adha. In neat rows in an empty courtyard, men in white and women in brightly coloured outfits gathered to pray, embracing and wishing each other well in a rare moment of respite from more than 10 weeks of relentless controlled airstrikes and artillery fire that have reduced civilians' homes to rubble. In both Khartoum and the western region of Darfur, where most of the violence has occurred, bodies have been left to rot in the streets. Similar prayer gatherings took place outside Khartoum, including in Jazeera region, where many have fled from the capital. With millions trapped in the embattled capital, still rationing electricity and water in the oppressive heat, families struggle to conjure up holiday cheer. A search operation involving hundreds of security personnel was underway in Mexico on Wednesday, a day after gunmen kidnapped 16 administrative employees of the police force. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador vowed no impunity for the perpetrators who intercepted a bus transporting 33 workers on a highway in the southern state of Chiapas. López Obrador added that the abductors work at a nearby prison and the incident appeared to be connected to a dispute between kerana groups. More than 1,000 members of the state and federal security forces were involved in the search operation, including a specialized team from the capital, Mexico City. The abduction occurred on a stretch of a highway that connects the town of Acozo, Cutla, and the state capital, Tutla Gutierrez, southwest of Mexico City. 2 suspects were already detained in the vicinity of the kidnapping. Authorities said the perpetrators freed 17 women traveling in the same bus, but forced the men on board to get out of the vehicle and took them captive. The United States government is restarting asylum appointments at a dangerous Mexican border town where concerns over the kidnapping and extortion of migrants had prompted U.S. officials to suspend the scheduling of appointments just days earlier. The reversal comes after more than 1,500 asylum seekers flocked Mexico's Nuevo Laredo in recent days, sleeping in a plaza near the International Bridge after word spread that the U.S. had begun to accept migrants there without asylum appointments. United States Custom and Border Protection (CBP) said its CBP One mobile app, which officials have urged migrants to use since COVID-era restrictions, called Title 42 expired in May, will offer appointments again beginning Wednesday. This comes less than 2 weeks after CBP had shut down the system for asylum appointments at Laredo, the Texas city opposite Nuevo Laredo, once U.S. officials learned criminals were forcing migrants to pay $500 each to reach the bridge to attend the appointments. Leaders of the world's top central banks reaffirmed that they think further policy tightening will be needed to tame stubbornly high inflation, but still believe they can achieve that without triggering outright recessions. United States Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell kept consecutive interest rate hikes on the table, while European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde cemented expectations for a ninth consecutive rise in Eurozone rates in July. Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey said he would do what is needed to bring down persistent price growth in the United Kingdom, and even the governor of the Bank of Japan, Kazuo Yoda, opened the door to one day abandoning its ultra-easy policy. Lagarde said the European Central Bank is still not seeing enough evidence that underlying inflation has turned a corner and is on a downward path. The Fed kept rates on hold this month, but markets expect it to rise them again next month or in September before starting to cut them next year. The ECB is forecast to raise rates in July and September, but investors bet it will also turn around and start reducing borrowing costs in 2024 as the economic outlook worsens. Peruvian local authorities have said evacuating plans to face eventual harvest of the southern Ubinas volcano, which has shown increased activity since early this month. Footage released by the Geological, Mining and Meteorological Institute Volcanological Observatory (INGEMMET) shows a plunge of smoke and ash being released this week in the Ubinas crater. According to authorities, emissions have reached almost 1.5 kilometers above the volcano summit in the last days. Ubinas volcano in the Moscua region is the most active in the country. The mountain reported heavy activity in 2019, prompting the evacuation of nearby communities. Authorities reported that seismic activity has been increasing since mid-May, which followed a fumarolic activity. Therefore, the alert level for the volcano was raised to level 3. Southern Peru is home to a dozen active volcanoes. Peru is also in the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, an area with a high incidence of earthquakes and volcanic activity. Coming up in sports, former Golden Boot winner Ifidayo joins Kedah. Kedah Darul Aman FC, KDA-FC have signed former Super League top scorer Ifidayo Alusigan. The 32-year-old forward, who scored 87 goals in 104 matches in all AMLE competitions, won the Golden Boot Awards with Selangor in 2020 and 2021. The Nigerian-born, who has a Bahrain passport, will be registered under the Asian quota. He will replace Brazilian William Lira, who was released on the 16th of June. Ifidayo joined Fellow United in 2017 and played for Selangor from 2019 to 2021. He played for the now defunct Melaka United last season. Kedah in a statement said Ifidayo was a familiar figure in the M League, and with his experience with Felda, Selangor and Melaka, he will definitely be an asset for Kedah because he came with a huge reputation of having won 2 Super League Golden Boot awards with Selangor. Kedah hopes Ifidayo, also known as King Dayo, will help them do well in the Super League. The club are 4th with 28 points. Ifidayo will likely feature for Kedah in his first match against PRM FC on the 9th of July, as the mid-season transfer window only opens 4 days earlier. Arsenal have signed Germany forward Kai Havertz from Chelsea on a long-term contract. The transfer fee has not been disclosed, but British media have reported Arsenal will pay Chelsea £65 million with an additional £5 million in add-ons. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta said Havertz is a player of top quality with great versatility and intelligence, adding that he will bring a huge amount of extra strength and variety to the Gunners' midfield. Previously, Havertz joined Chelsea in September 2020 from Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen, where he had started his professional career. Chelsea had paid up to £71 million, including add-ons, for the German forward, according to media reports, making him Chelsea's second most expensive signing after goalkeeper Arrizabalaga. Havertz made nearly 140 appearances for Chelsea in all competitions, scoring more than 30 goals and helped them win the Champions League in 2020 to 2021, as well as the UEFA Super Cup and Club World Cup in 2021. Havertz has also played almost 40 times for Germany after making his debut in a 2-1 friendly win over Peru in September 2018. He was included in their squads for Euro 2020 and the 2022 World Cup, where he scored a brace in a 4-2 win over Costa Rica before Germany were knocked out in the group stage. Meanwhile, Senegal goalkeeper Edouard Mendy has also left Chelsea to join Saudi Arabian side Al Ahly, who are making the return to the top flight Pro League next season after a year in the second division. Said Mendy's contract would run until 2026 without giving any financial details. British media reported that the Saudi club would pay around £16 million for the goalkeeper. Mendy joined Premier League Chelsea from Stade Rennais in 2020, and the 31-year-old played a pivotal role as the London club won the second Champions League title with a 1-0 win over Manchester City in the final in 2021. Following the departure of Chelsea's German manager Thomas Tuchel, Mendy fell behind keeper Arrizabalaga in the pecking order under coaches Graham Potter and then Frank Lampard. Mendy became the third Chelsea player to move to Saudi Arabia after N'Golo Kante and compatriot Khalidou Koulibaly joined Al Hilal. Earlier this month, the Saudi Public Investment Fund (PIF) announced the sports club's investment and privatization project involving the league champions Al Ittihad, Al Ahly, Al Nasser, and Al Hilal. PIF owns 75% of each of the four clubs, while the respective non-profit foundations own 25% of each. Inter Miami have named Gerardo Martino as the new coach, as United States Major League Soccer (MLS) yesterday announced the matter, which will reunite the Argentine with compatriot Lionel Messi. The 60-year-old previously coached Messi at Barcelona and for Argentina between 2013 and 2016. The club said the MLS Cup and MLS Coach of the Year award-winning coach with experience with Argentina and Mexico national teams, Barcelona and more, joins the club while awaiting his employment paperwork. Martino returns to coaching after stepping down as Mexico coach following last year's World Cup, where the country were eliminated in the group stage for the first time since 1978. He was previously at the helm of Atlanta United for the club's first 2 years in league, enjoying a successful stint winning the MLS Cup in 2018. Barcelona's former Spain midfielder Sergio Busquets also joined the Miami side, signing as a free agent earlier this month. By upsetting world number 5 Stefanos Tsitsipas at the Malaysia Championship ceremonies, Yannick Hoffmann recorded the biggest victory of his career. Hoffmann recently broke into the top 50 and the win over Tsitsipas in his first over a player ranked in the top 5 players in the world. The German put in a more than solid shift forward by an accurate delivery of his service, winning 80% of points behind his first serve to advance to his first ATP Tour quarterfinal on grass. In the first game of the match and twice more in deciding set, Hoffmann broke Tsitsipas' serve to secure the statement victory. The 31-year-old has a 16-9 record in 2023 after cracking the top 50 of the ATP rankings on Monday. In May on the clay in Madrid, he made it to his first ATP Masters 1000 quarterfinal, winning matches over top 10 stars Andrew Rublev and Taylor Fritz. Hoffmann, who is making his Mallorca debut, will next face the local favourite, Spain's Feliciano Lopez. Four times Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles will return to competition in early August at the US Classic in Chicago. United States Gymnastics said on Wednesday what will be her first event since the Tokyo Games in 2021. The 26-year-old will take part in the single-day event on the 5th of August, having been out of action for the past 2 years following her withdrawal from several events in Tokyo. Biles, who won 4 gold medals at the 2016 Rio Olympics, cited the pressure of living up to expectations and a need to protect her mental health for her decision to pull out of events in Tokyo, where she won a bronze on the balance beam and a silver in the team competition, from which she withdrew after 1 vault. That took her Olympic tally to 7 medals, equaling Shannon Miller as the American female gymnast with the most Games medals. Sunisa Lee, who shone in her compatriots' absence by winning the all-around competition in Tokyo, and Jade Carey, who won gold on floor after also part of the elite women's field. Biles, who recently married NFL player Jonathan Owens, used the US Classic to return from a 2-year break in 2018 following her participation in Rio.
Raikan Aidiladha tahun ini dengan penuh keikhlasan serta semangat pengorbanan, dan serukanlah umat manusia untuk mengerjakan ibadat haji. Nescaya mereka akan datang ke rumah Tuhanmu dengan berjalan kaki dan dengan menunggang berjenis-jenis unta yang kurus, yang datangnya dari berbagai jalan, ceruk dan rantau yang jauh. Surah Al-Hajj ayat 27. Selamat menyambut Hari Raya Aidiladha 1444 Hijrah. Seikhlas pengorbanan daripada kami di RTM.
Alright, that concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon in our top story. Muslims nationwide celebrate Aidiladha in peace and moderation. Till then, I'm Nur Zamri. Malaysia Madani, tekat perpaduan penuhi harapan. Salam Aidiladha and enjoy your holidays.